Hello everyone, I am the Mudman here with Caution Fun, and we have a very cool deck breakdown for you today. As you can see, we have a BashGlobe deck. I'm sure everyone is very familiar with this. BashGlobe has been all over the ladder for the past, I'd say, a month or two. But this is an interesting new take. As you can see, we have BearishSentiment, which is a red action. It costs 2. It allows you to choose a penguin. It loses all of its abilities for the end of the cycle, plus you get to draw a card. You can use this to target your Bashful Swordsman, allowing it to win the vibe check in the mid-game, or at 14 rods to win the game without icing itself, which is a super strong combination. So besides BashSentiment, there's a lot of other reasons to run red cards. The BashGlobe archetype already runs a handful of red cards inherently. They run ContemplationPenguin, SerenePenguin, as well as PopcornPenguin, so it's easy to throw in some more red stuff to utilize some powerful red action cards. We have mostly removal-based cards in the form of Sunburn. We have PutonaShow, as well as HittheHighNote and PeaceOutPenguin. All are forms of removal. HittheHighNote is unique in the sense that it is the only relic removal in the game, and that's particularly powerful in the mirror match. But for the most part, red is just really good at controlling the board state, which is really good. And as any BashGlobe player can tell you, you need to win the game with a big penguin, so cards like PutonaShow is really good to guarantee that you have the biggest penguin available. You may have also noticed that we have relatively small counts of all of these removal-based cards, either 1 or 2 of each of them, but we can recycle them easily with our RunItBackPenguin, which is really strong, in particular with HittheHighNote, because HittheHighNote is so cheap. You can play 1, return 1 story, get your high note back, return the other story, and then your opponent is in an extremely losing situation. Besides that, we're doing mostly regular BashGlobe things. However, there is one other card of note that we're going to want to go over, and that is the OrbofHopium. Caution, you want to talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. I've been pretty obsessed with this card recently, operating under a pretty simple proposition that OrbofHopium is great if you are consistently winning vibe checks, and it's probably a rod if you're not. That said, the early returns have been super promising, in my opinion. One of the issues with like a tempo-oriented deck like this, where you're trying to win the vibe check from turn 1, you tend to gas out, around the 5th or 6th cycle, and maybe you have to make some concessions if you want to get up to 14 permanents ahead of your opponent. That said, OrbofHopium fixes that. You tend to only need 1. And I tend to only play it when it's the last thing in my hand, you know what I mean? But in those situations, usually you've been winning a bunch of vibe checks, so your opponent has a huge hand, but you're running out of gas, and maybe you're unable to play 2 or 3 permanents per turn. OrbofHopium, the downside of drawing your opponent a card, doesn't matter so much when they're already heavily advantaged in the hand size department. This just allows you to get up to those 14 permanents earlier, more consistently, maybe with some resources in your hand, like a BearishSentiment or a PutonaShow to guarantee the victory. And I think it just works really well in red generally as well. Like you alluded to, we have some removal options in the form of penguins in PeaceOutPenguin and PopcornPenguin. And these cards are fantastic because they can go 2 for 1. Meaning you lose 1 permanent and your opponent loses ideally 2 or more. That said, you are still losing a permanent, and OrbofHopium goes a long way in just replenishing those to allow you to hit 14 or 15 with your swordsman out on time and ideally ahead of your opponent.
And another aspect of OrbofHopium, which is really good and sort of mitigates the symmetrical draw effect. Since we're only playing the OrbofHopium when we're winning the vibe checks, it means we have lots of rods and the opponent has far fewer rods, which means 100%. That we'll be able to capitalize off of the bonus draw more than our opponent.
Ideally. It also helps you find your stuff. Another justification for those lower counts on the removal actions there. But overall, just I think it ties the deck together really well, helps with the consistency, and can help you accelerate faster against those slower decks that you might run into.
Yeah, the OrbofHopium has been surprisingly good. Definitely give it a try before just taking it out of the deck entirely.
100%, yeah. Can't recommend it enough. That said, we're enough talking about it. Why don't we prove it to the folks at home and run a few games with it?
Yeah, let's get in.
All right, here we go. Game 1 with BashBear. So generally in the mulligan here, we're just looking for a fast start, right?
Yeah, like we said in the deck breakdown, we want to win the vibe checks. You need a fast start to win the vibe checks.
100%. Having access to an early game peace out's pretty solid as well. The SilentSnowGlobe is an interesting keep here because, it is relatively slow. That said, it is something I feel comfortable rodding in the early game because, we still have 2 copies organically in the deck. And we also run 2 BounceHouseRods. So, we should have access to that by the end game there.
And luckily, we did get the ContemplationPenguin. We ended up rodding the BambooPenguin because we're going to go right into 3 in the next turn anyway.
100%. Yeah, 1-3-5 is a really nice line to take with this deck. Often looks like a ContemplationPenguin into a PeaceOutPenguin into InspiringStory, and we have all those pieces here.
Yeah, now our hand is really good, so it's looking like the SnowGlobe is going to turn into a rod.
100%. And there you see we have that OrbofHopium there. If we draw a second one, we'll probably end up rodding that. You generally only want/need 1. But yeah, looking pretty comfortable here, and it's looking like we're going to be able to get some value out of PopcornPenguin against a green deck, which
you rarely get that opportunity, so you definitely want to jump on it. Usually you want to save your popcorn for post Inspiring Story, but in this scenario, you definitely want to eat up the Garden Grows Penguin as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, you can, right?
Yep.
And, all these cards are generally pretty solid. I mean, we have something to proc PeaceOutPenguin if need be. We have the story for next turn that we can get into regardless. And, if we really need to find the value quickly, we can drop OrbofHopium, but again, we're probably saving that until it's our last card in hand. We'll take another vibe check. Looks like our opponent's going to wait out the PopcornPenguin. And,
Yep. We had a bunch of choices here, but we decided to spend all of our mana. Good card game fundamentals. Holding on to everything else. We need the... we want the activator for our PeaceOutPenguin. We want our big penguin because he's good, and we want the Hopium to get more cards.
Yeah, this is like an interesting term because, my gut says, we want to develop a rod here just to, get into playing multiple things a turn earlier.
Yeah, the hand is simply too good.
Yeah, with the state of the board, I think we can afford to be a little patient here. And we ended up picking up the vibe check win anyways. And here, yeah, we can drop 3 permanents and start refilling our hand. And this is a, textbook OrbofHopium turn. We're going to lose a permanent here. That said, with that extra card that we just got off of the orb there, that gives us the option to get up into 14 permanents next turn, whereas if we didn't have the orb, we'd be 1 short.
Yeah, and on top of that, we're missing some of our key cards. We have no Bashful Swordsman, and we need that, so drawing into Bashful Swordsman would be nice.
100%. And so yeah, we got there a turn early to where we are threatening lethal. So our opponent has to play something. We have the Peace Out activator in hand with enough pudge to take advantage of one. Hungry Penguin comes down.
Yeah, Hungry Penguin's not doing much here.
It does force a tie at 14, so we can't win.
Yeah, but as you can see, we top deck the PopcornPenguin, which is big enough to eat a Hungry Penguin.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, and there's a second PopcornPenguin.
The Baron being on our side is definitely important for this turn. Our stories will buff our popcorns to 6, allowing us to take out that Hungry Penguin. And the reason we want to drop the second one there is in case our opponent plays their own PopcornPenguin defensively or tries to play something little to keep the Hungry Penguin available.
Yeah, just limit their options as much as possible.
Yep, and if the downside is, we have to eat one of our own popcorns, we are still on 15 permanents.
Yeah, no big deal. And as you can see, because of our OrbofHopium, we were able to draw through enough cards that we found our Bashful Swordsman. We have tons of permanents. We're looking real good here.
100%. Yeah, we can drop that NotaRodAnymore, the Bashful Swordsman, and perhaps whatever we top deck, and we'll still be able to hang out with that BearishSentiment in hand.
And we've got a pretty great top deck with the PutonaShow. Now we're safe against any big penguin.
100%. Oh, second PutonaShow. Yeah, it just feels like a matter of time here. We should be able to prevent our opponent from winning and, probably force a win ourselves, depending what they have here.
Yeah, the best thing our opponent could do is like something along the lines of cleanup good. If they do that, then their penguin gets destroyed easily.
Yeah, cleanup good, clam with twist, even just a clam to procrastinate its turn.
So they're going with a walk the runway. It's no big deal.
Yeah, just put an end to that there. I guess they could have WhataTwist into a second walk the runway to make our bashful win on 14 permanents.
But now that's off the table.
But yeah, nip that in the bud real quick. And there's an easy example of a game where, we started winning vibe checks against a green deck, and the OrbofHopium gave us enough gas to get up to 14, 15, 16 permanents.
Yeah, you saw we got to 14 really quickly. When we had 14 permanents, our opponent had 1 Inspiring Story and 5 rods.
100%, yeah. Shows the importance of finding that fast start and hopefully capitalizing with some, late game finishers that the orb can help you find there. Let's get into game 2. And right into game 2 here. Once again, just looking for that fast start in the mulligan, and this is not it. Looking like a full send. I mean, you could argue, keeping one or the other of these cards is good if you know what your opponent's playing, but against a blank slate, that's a full send.
Yeah, we really want some 1s, 2s, and 3s.
100%, we got them. And there's the 1-3-5 line that we love to take. Looks like SnowGlobe is the option here for a rod.
Yeah, definitely the worst card in the hand, and if we need SnowGlobe, it's not for a long time.
Right. That is one way to prioritize what you rod in the early game, is what are you furthest away from getting value out of,
Yep.
And same application here. It's probably that PutonaShow. We don't even have 3 pudge worth of penguins in our hand.
Yeah, and on top of that, the BearishSentiment is a much better activator for Peace Out than PutonaShow is.
100%, yeah. You can always target your own Peace Out. If you have 3 pudge, you can just target the Peace Out and pop it off beforehand. I don't know why you would, because you want to get the card drop, but
yeah,
it is an option. Same goes for the Sunburn. Oh, and there it is. Still probably a rod here.
Yeah, our opponent hasn't played any penguins, so removal is not looking great.
Yeah, and we definitely want to start slamming down these inspiring stories. Mini punish here would have been a great target, but it's okay.
Yeah, but either way, we're still winning vibe checks, maintaining our game plan.
100%. We are well ahead. Getting a little low on hand size.
Yeah, but luckily the second BearishSentiment means we can waste the first BearishSentiment, lose the vibe check, draw some cards.
Yep, absolutely. Regardless of what our opponent plays here, yeah, we can throw the vibe check if we want to. So SerenePenguin means that our opponent will probably be winning vibe checks on at least 1 or 2 future turns here.
Yeah, unless we can get our own SerenePenguin.
OrbofHopium off the top.
Yeah, we're not winning vibe checks right now, but we also have pretty much no cards in our hand, so.
Yeah, I mean, that is one way to look at it there for sure. We can maintain a rod advantage. So, going back to what you were saying, we do have a greater capacity to play multiple things per turn. And with the rest of that hand, it's just not cutting it. In order to win this game, we need more than what we have. So play the orb, find the stuff.
Yeah, and on top of that, our opponent's biggest penguin can easily be flopped at any point.
So long as we have an action, right?
Yep, and we have an action in our rods, we have an action in our hands. We're pretty good on that.
All 4 stories coming to the top here. Already the orb is paying off nicely. Our opponent plays their second. We definitely don't need 2.
Yeah, but we would love another story. It's great to maintain the higher story count.
100%. And right away, we get up to a turn where we can threaten lethal. And, we still have some resources we could hold back in our hand. Playing the BearishSentiment on, either of our opponents' penguins there. Flops the Serene, gives us the biggest thing.
Yeah, but now we're threatening lethal.
Yep, short of a WhataTwist or a NotaRodAnymore. That will get up to a tie, keeping the Baron on his side. Right here, we could pop the PeaceOutPenguin to take out that sneaky penguin. That said, it's the same outcome. Even if we twist one of our other penguins, we would take ourselves down to 13 permanents. So there's no win here. It's just, do we want to keep that Peace Out and sneaky on the board or not? And, we want to have 4 red pudge available, ideally, so we can play PutonaShow and still have something available.
Yep, exactly. We have quite a few actions. We don't want to lose our pudge.
Yep, and we found the 3rd Bearish as well, so we can keep cycling if the situation calls for it. So many stories. 3 rods left, and it is the Bashful. So here, we have a pretty cool line. Having that 4th pudge available to us is going to enable it. we can use our Put on a Show to take out that Bashful Swordsman and flop the SerenePenguin at the same time. That'll leave his 10 vibe Sneaky Penguin up on the board, but we should have a Peace Out available to remove that, unless they have another NotaRodAnymore, and then we can twist one of our remaining Peace Out Penguins and hopefully win the vibe check here. So,
Yeah, let's see if it works out.
100%. That's we are totally safe from losing this turn, which is a comfortable feeling. It's just, will we be able to pull off all that stuff in sequence? This is it. Moment of truth. Bridge to layer 0.
Yeah, the bridge to layer 0 shouldn't work because we have no cards in our eyes, but we're still worrying about it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, resolves as expected. Not at all. Beautiful. So
And,
unless our opponent has the twist of their own.
Yep, that'll buy them a turn, but then we'll just continue to present lethal, and that's the game.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool win. Mirror
100%.
match, but we didn't get any of the big penguins.
Yeah, and I mean, gosh, with the quality of our opponent's drops there, if we didn't have those extra resources that the orb made available to us, I'm not sure we squeaked that one out.
Yeah, the orb was real key, especially, like, not only did we not get our big penguins, right, we didn't get our Hit the High Notes either, which is our, like, specific tech card for those mirror-style matches.
Yeah, we didn't get our own Bashful or our own Serene or any Hit the High Notes there.
Which is a little bit understandable, because I think we did mulligan all 3 of those cards in the mulligan.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, the fast start was enough. We were able to replenish our resources and finish it out in time. That's awesome. Alrighty, so yeah, that's the BashBear deck. Let us know what you think about it in the comments, and if you try it on the ladder and have any success with it, please let us know in the TST Discord. We love to hear that. It's our favorite thing.
Hey, so I think that's about it for me. Anything else, Caution?
All good?
All right, well then have a wonderful day.